And then we have the commander of the 100 Battalion Corporal 2nd Infantry, Robert Kepa, and his wife Lauren. Then we have some guest militia Munishi representing the MIS Veterans Club of Hawaii. Alec Tushiyuki representing MIS Veterans Club of Hawaii. And then Irene Oshiro and Yumi Lini are daughters of a World War II MIS veteran. They're part of 103 Youth College. And Mr. Alan Hayashi. Next for tonight, Joven Miranda. Used to be Joven when I was in the Philippines. When I came to the US, it became Joven. Tonight, before we start, just like to take a moment of silence to honor some of our fellow comrades that we lost last year and this year. Sergeant Ortiz, Sergeant First Class Nakashima, and Staff Sergeant Ben Matalis. May they rest in peace. I'd like to call on J.B. Busan to do the invocation.
Aloha. Let's bow our heads in prayer as I pray in my faith and your faith. We came together tonight on this Cocoa Grove Association annual dinner meeting, bound by a common purpose and shared sense of unity. We acknowledge your presence and are grateful for the blessings that we have brought us here. As we gather together, we are reminded of the importance of community, fellowship, and the pursuit of common goals. We ask for your guidance and wisdom as we navigate the challenges and opportunities for the Cocoa Grove Association. May this gathering be a testament to our shared commitment to the soldiers and family of Cocoa Grove Battalion, and especially you, Lord. May it serve as a source of inspiration and strength for each of us and for the greater good. We'll also remember those who could not be with us today, those facing adversity. May they find comfort and support in the time of need. Bless this gathering, the conversations and connections that will take place, and the bonds that will be strengthened here. May our collective efforts lead to positive outcomes and make a meaningful difference in our world. We thank you for the food before us, for the hands that prepared it, and for your abundant provision. Bless this meal that will nourish our bodies and strengthen our spirits. In your holy name we pray. Amen. Amen.
Thank you, JB. By the way, this is not a Filipino party. I was going to say Mabuhay. Before I forget, just like to thank Ethel and Cory Bisakawa for that poster that they made for Aaron Nakashima. And on our left here, on my left here, is the table for our MIAs and our filling actions comrades that can no longer join us to participate in this dinner. I hope everybody took their maintenance tonight. I'm talking about your sartan and your hamburger. Banquet captain, you want to get promoted to a major or just captain? Banquet captain will be going to for the night and the sea. When he took over, he said, "Sir Major, please take me to all the sections." So I took him to G1. He said, "The first person I see just is standing around, so I mean, I'm at a party." So he walked into G1, he saw this one guy standing around. General Costa said, "How much do you make a day for a month?" "Sir, I make 700 every 2 weeks." General Costa pulled out his wallet, paid the man $750. It's your 750, get out of here. And then General Counsel asked me, Samuel, who's the head of G1? So Mr. J.B. Obusan. So it's called J.B. J.B., who's that guy that just parked? Sir, he doesn't work here. He's the Pizza Hut delivery guy. He said, J1, $750. Anyway, back to Captain Audio. You guys know why the physics teacher brought out the math teacher? Because that's for chemistry. Anyway, I was watching news yesterday. I saw Fire Chief retired Leonardi, and he looks so young back in 1995. 1999, 25 years ago. That was during the Sacred Falls accident. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to call on Mr. Andy Tamon, our local board association president.
Thank you, Jordan. I want to ask for Jordan, our MC tonight. My pleasure to welcome your honored guests, members, and families. Thank you for attending our Vocal Book Association annual banquet. It's really great to see all of you. I am pleased to announce that the association is doing well financially. The majority of our income is derived from the annual golf tournament, which has proven to be sufficient to support all of our activities. There's no reason why we will not continue to do so in the future. On that note, I'd like to remind everyone that we need to continually seek participation in our tournament, and that we always need new information on contacts to which we can solicit donations. At this time, I'd like to introduce to you the officers and members of the board. As I call your name, please stand and remain standing until all have been recognized. And audience, please withhold your applause until the end. Vice President J.B. Obusan. Secretary Calvin Lumiyama. Treasurer Sean Lee. Directors Alvin Al, Ruben Milan, Philip Puppy Buchanan, Otto De Los Santos, Jimmy Clark, Brian Law, Robin Miranda, Henry Flowers, Jay Trinidad, Mark Young, and John Kelly, Command Sergeant Major of the 100th Battalion 446. Give him a hand. They all have been diligent in carrying on their responsibilities, meeting every month to assess the association's financial condition, members' benefits, retention, and recruitment, as well as representing the association with all the funds. We continue to support and foster relations with the unit, which is a part of our mission as the Vocal Book Association. We continually strive to improve our overall situation. Another part of our mission is to perpetuate the legacy of the Nisei warriors, the 100th Battalion 446th Infantry, who fought valiantly in World War II. They fought with honor, even after being abandoned by their country, and in doing so, benefited not only Japanese Americans, but all minorities. We should never forget, I repeat, never forget their heroic achievements and sacrifices. From the words of an unknown author, I quote, "The greatest legacy one can pass on to their children and grandchildren is not money or material things in one's life, but rather a legacy of character and faith." End quote. Legacy, what does it mean? One meaning that I came across is creating something enduring that can be passed on. Another is how you choose to live and lead during tragedy, chaos, and uncertainty ultimately defines your legacy. History tells us that those recent soldiers in World War II did indeed make the right choice in the face of tragedy, chaos, and uncertainty, and in doing so created that something enduring that can be passed on. Let us continue to pass this legacy on. In closing, I'd like to share a conversation between two friends. Where the first one says, "Hey, we only live once," which the second friend responds, "Wrong, we only die once. We live every day. Let us live every day." Thank you.
Thank you, Andy. I never even got a chance to bring my decaf coffee. That was fast. Okay, our next speaker for tonight, the battalion commander of the 100th Battalion, 442nd Infantry, Lieutenant Colonel Robert Pepper.
Should start drinking your coffee now. Yes. These are currently distinguished guests, former battalion commanders and command sergeant majors, board of directors, families, friends, and last but not least, all the mothers here tonight. I bid you all aloha and go for growth. Wow, as I'm looking out here tonight, what a great turnout. Great turnout tonight. It truly is, it's great for us to be able to come together as family and friends. Eat some good food, talk story, and catch up. 2024 has been a great year for the battalion so far. We've been able to invite the board back to the battalion and host a monthly board director meeting at the battalion headquarters. In April, we hosted a Go for Broke Day event with our families that allowed us to celebrate the men and women of the battalion, past and present. Soldiers are able to showcase what they do on the weekends and build much needed camaraderie. June will be a busy month for us, for the battalion. Echo Company, they're getting ready to head from Guam and Saipan to the Philippines to participate in the exercise Solid Nib. Charlie Company will be working through squad level proficiency at GBLM Washington. Bravo Company, Delta Company, the 740th Forward Support Company, and my HHC will be working through command post operations and squad platoon proficiencies here at Wilson Barracks. 2024 doesn't stop there. In October, the entire battalion will be headed to PTA to execute the Joint Pacific Multinational Readiness Center exercise. Don't try to say that fast, right? We call it GFBA. So for some of you, right, what GFBA is, it's the GRTC, right, in Louisiana, or NTC in California. We won't go there anymore. We'll be going to GFBA from now on. That's the new NTC, GRTC. This year, we're going to PTA, and we're going to go toe-to-toe with 2nd Brigade, 25th. Even after all of that, our year is still not done. At the end of October, we'll be headed to France to celebrate the 80th anniversary of the liberation of Zaire and Ville, a truly humbling and special event. With CSM Calhoun and Angel Leo, myself at the helm, rest assured that the battalion is in good hands with a bright future ahead. In 2026, we're preparing to deploy the entire battalion to Malaysia to execute exercise Terror Strike with the Malaysian Army. It's been a long time since the battalion has been able to train away from the island as a unified force, and we're looking forward to it. Thank you for your continued support. Happy Mother's Day, and go for both!
Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel. And thanks for reminding me of that about Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all of you. Don't forget to watch the movie Monday. Okay, before we proceed on to our next speaker, our keynote speaker, I'm going to be calling again from our guys. You know, I went to my friend's house one day. He was showing me all the rooms in his house. They wanted the door had a big question mark. So I asked him, what's that question mark on the door? That's the guest room. So for those of you that are not on diet, the last call for the buffet is at 8 o'clock. So this person that I'm going to introduce, our Sugai, who is our lieutenant. He's a hero and a member of the second graduating class of Area High School in 1965. If John Moore didn't get grad, they would have been class. But he went to Vietnam instead of being a classmate of our Sugai. He was commissioned in the regular army on May 31, 1970. 1965, I was only 9 years old. Good for my autograph. The font is too small. He was a distinguished military graduate from the University of Hawaii Army ROTC. Following graduation from his officer's basic course in December 1970, Lieutenant Sugai was initially assigned to the 3rd Battalion, 36th Infantry Mechanized, 1st Brigade, 3rd Armored Division, as an infantry platoon leader. Opposite East German forces at the Fulda Gap in the Federal Republic of Germany. Man, I just missed you in 5 years. I was there in 75. In September 1973, Lieutenant Sugai was assigned to Headquarters 9th Infantry Division at Fort Lewis, Washington. There he commanded the 9th AG Company, and following his promotion to captain in February 1976, was only specialist at the time. He was assigned to the Director of Personnel and Community Affairs at the Yakima Firing Center in Central Washington. Captain Sugai was assigned to Headquarters, 2nd Infantry Division, Republic of Korea. I don't know how to say bibimbap. In August 1977, as Deputy Chief Personnel Services Division, he served as a project officer to manage soldier reassignment. As part of President Carter's plan, returned to the 2nd Infantry Division back home to Fort Valley, Kansas. In September 1978, Captain Sugai returned to Hawaii as the Equal Opportunity Staff Officer, Headquarters, 25th Division, Schofield Barracks. In March 1979, he assumed duties as the Personal Staff Officer, S1 Adjutant, to Headquarters 45th Support Group, Schofield Barracks, Hawaii. Never said anything here about meeting Gale. He was a tourist all the time. Captain Sugai was reassigned to Headquarters, U.S. Army Western Command, Fort Chapter, Hawaii in September of 1980. He served both as protocol officer and aide-de-camp to the Chief of Staff, Brigadier General Richard Cardillo, and Major General Todd Grant. In February 1984, Captain Sugai joined the Army Reserve, assigned to the Pacific Army Aviation Command, Hong Headquarters 9 Corps Reinforcement. Soon after his promotion to major, he assumed duties as the executive officer of the 100th Battalion, Corporal Second Infantry, from December 1984 to January 1988. Major Sugai was reassigned to the 1085th. I have to correct that, it was only in a program. Training Exercise and Maneuver Group, PMG, in February 1988, and served in successive assignments as Admin Services Officer, Personnel Officer, and Chief Admin Division. In June 1996, then Lieutenant Colonel Sugai was assigned to the Pacific Affairs Officer, Headquarters 9th Army Reserve Command, where he served until retirement in June 2007. Lieutenant Colonel Sugai is a graduate of the Infantry Officers Basic Course, Personnel Administration Officers Advanced Course, Command and General Staff Course, Department of Defense Information Officer Advanced Course, Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, Public Affairs Course, and the White House Speechwriters Guild Speechwriting Course. Lieutenant Colonel Sugai continues to serve. He is the director of the Board of Oral Veterans Center, the Oral Veterans Council, 4th Chapter GFBA Post 10276. Looks like a zip code. He also serves as a member of the Hawaii First Robotics Organizing Committee and the Hawaii Committee for Employer Support of the Guard and Reserve. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Lieutenant Colonel Howard Sugai.
Ladies and gentlemen, MC Joe Moran. I don't make this stuff up. I think Joe is the next Joy Coy. Seriously. For those of you in the 9th MNC world, he has an annual reunion coming up in November, and I call it the Joe and Miranda Show. Good evening, everyone. Command Sergeant Major Miranda, thank you for reading my bio. Rarely have I had a Command Sergeant Major say nice things about me. And I wish my mom could have been here to hear that. She would have been so proud. Major General Lee, and Kawasawa and Clyde Sugimoto, and Clyde are 100th Battalion lifetime members, MIS Vet Club members, and also members of the 442nd Sons and Daughters Club. And Kawasawa is currently the Vice President of the 442nd Sons and Daughters. Ms. Morinishi and Mr. Toshiyuki, on behalf of the Military Intelligence Service Veterans Club of Hawaii, Lieutenant Colonel Mrs. Kepa. I'd like to acknowledge the presence also of State Commander of the Veterans of Foreign Wars, Hawaii, Ron Shadell. Gopher Broke Association President Annie Tomori, Association Secretary Talbot Nomiyama, the Association's Board of Directors, Mr. Alan Hayashi, good to see you again, sir. Ms. Oshiro and Ms. Laney, welcome. Soldiers of the 100th Battalion, 442nd Infantry, Gopher Broke, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank our Association Board of Directors for, in particular, Secretary Calvin Nomiano for the opportunity to share my thoughts and experiences with you this evening. During my time with the 100th and during my years as 9th RSC and Leslie Public Affairs Officer, there were many events and actions that were about related to the perpetuation of the legacy and honor of the 100th Battalion Separate and the full 42nd Regimental Combat Team. President Tamori used the word legacy, and I hope you will get a grasp of that sometime tonight. Some of you may already know about what I'm speaking of. Others I would like to share with you tonight, I believe, for the first time. There is no particular order or timeline. A fading memory, time, and a catastrophic house flood has handicapped me in retrieving specific details of data and dates of what I am about to share with you this evening. To the soldiers of the 100th Battalion, it is my hope you will have a greater appreciation and reverence for that famous honor patch that adorns your uniform. Also in my presentation tonight, I will share with you how to book a room at the 805 Hotel. You laugh. How many years I've been frustrated in getting a reservation there? Reserve, National Guard soldiers, and retirees are at the very bottom of the LNG priority list. I've been trying for years to get a room. Okay, let's begin. I'm going to use a phrase of my high school former buddy Joe Moore. At the end of his K2N2 newscast, he says, "Did you know?" Okay? He always loved to say, "Did you know?" So, and he had a story following that. Okay, so let's begin. Did you know? The Go for Broke Association once sponsored the Scout Pack 442 and Boy Scout Troop 100. In this picture here, taken, I believe, in October in 2005, Lieutenant General Brown, then the Commanding General of U.S. Army Western Command, coined our scouts at Punch Bowl. Did you know, in 2003, a battalion honor guard traveled to Vicenza, Italy, to dedicate an Army Reserve Center in honor of the first Go for Broke Medal of Honor recipient, Private Sadao Moimoy. Speaking on behalf of the 442 Veterans Club was Colonel Joe Corona. In this picture, front row, far left, are young Sergeants Floyd Uehara and Aaron Nakashima. Command Sergeant Major Silva, you were there. You remember this picture? Give me a hall! All right. Here in this picture, Colonel Corona, Command Sergeant Major Silva, Major Mike Peters, the battalion extra at that time, and yours truly, sing the Go for Broke song because there was no band. And even the Italian Army band couldn't play our song. So we stepped up and we did the battalion proud. Did you know that in October 1987, some of you were even born then, at the invitation of both Hawaii Senators, Spark Matsunaga and Daniel Linoy, the 100th Battalion helped celebrate the bicentennial of the United States Constitution in Washington, D.C. Now that's a picture from Senator Matsunaga's bulletin. Hard to see, but there's a Master Sergeant Ted Salmon, Sergeant Lester Corrado. Lester, are you here? All right. Sergeant J.D. Obasang and all others. Not yet, JP. The 100th Battalion helped celebrate the bicentennial to commemorate the event. Our honor guard participated in the opening ceremony of a new permanent exhibit in the Smithsonian Museum of American History entitled "A More Perfect Union: Japanese Americans and the Constitution." This is our color guard on the west front of the U.S. Capitol building with a young J.B. Osa. Right over there. Got it. Thank you, J.B. If you notice in the back, they were supported by the United States Army Band, Pershing's Oath. Throughout the week's celebration, our honor guard participated in numerous events, such as the memorial service at Arlington Cemetery, the Coco wreath laying at the Tomb of the Unknown, and the gala banquet attended by more than 3,000. Here, our soldiers engaged with, at that time, with Senator Matsunaga and Medal of Honor recipient Hiroshi Miyamura. Lieutenant General Alan K. Ono, and this is Dr. Colonel Dr. Ono, Craig Ono, yes, at Shriners Hospital. This is his dad. Lieutenant General Alan K. Ono, Army Deputy Chief of Staff for Personnel, then the highest ranking Army officer of Japanese ancestry, gave the keynote address. I had been acquainted with General Ono when he was a 2-star Major General in my active duty protocol time at Fort Chapter. Every time he visited, he was businesslike, firm, direct, and on this occasion, he told the veterans he is where he is today because of the valor and sacrifices of those who had gone before him. He said, and I quote, "The stars I wear are your stars." And for the first time I saw General Ono lose it. He lost his composure, tears in his eyes, and I was just impressed with his sincerity in his remarks to the Go for Broke veterans. Did you know there is a memorial to the Go for Broke at Camp Shelby, Mississippi, where the 442 took basic training? The 100th Battalion Honor Guard was there. The 2-day commemoration included a gala luncheon and a parade to the ceremony site, led by Lieutenant General Ono, and at that time Major General Mukayama. Senator Inouye delivered the keynote address, and then makes a friend with Sergeant Ala. Sergeant Ala, I know you were here. Give me a holla! All right. Now, Sergeant, I've been promising Sergeant Ala this picture for years, 30 years. Okay. And finally, in my research for doing this presentation, I found a picture. Did you know Major Glenn Hu? Who? Major Glenn Hu, H.U. He was either in the G4 South Shoulder at 9 RC headquarters about the time the 100th was at Fort Bliss. So one day Glenn comes to my office seeking guidance and help. He tells me his sister has signed up for a USO tour in Iraq to entertain our troops in the desert. She wanted to know how she would be able to find our Hawaii units, the 100th Battalion and the 29th Brigade from the Hawaii Army National Guard. So I asked him, "Who's your sister, Who?" He says, "My sister is Kelly Who." Yeah, I never made the connection. There is no resemblance. So I asked him, "Are you a brother from another mother?" Honestly, I say again, I never made the connection. If you don't know who Kelly Who is, go see the movie Scorpion King with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, okay? And I asked Kelly Who, when you came out of that bathing scene in the bathing pool, were you naked? She said, I'll never tell. Long story short, I got to spend the whole day with Kelly Who. Okay? Now, I included Sergeant Edward Romendo, our driver, just so my wife Gail wouldn't think we were trying to get it off. So when we meet, I give Kelly a whole fistful of Gopher Broke patches and 9 RC patches, and I tell her, sew it on your jacket, you know, both sleeves, front and back. I also give Kelly a recording of the Gopher Broke song with words. I tell her, please include this in your repertoire or your songs. I get Kelly on the Pacific Fleet Admiral's Barge for a VIP tour of Pearl Harbor and the USS Arizona Memorial, where the story of the 100th and the 442 begins. Anytime Kelly returns to Hawaii, she's hungry for local food, and we meet her Andy for lunch. And we dine at her favorite Korean barbecue restaurant. After lunch, we travel to meet Hawaii State Adjutant General, Major General Bob Lee. Bob, do you remember this picture? Give me a hurrah! All right, thank you. How could you forget? General Lee also gives a fistful of 29th Brigade patches and Hawaii Army National Guard patches to add to her jacket. The rest of the day we spend at Triple Army Medical Center. I'm not allowed to take pictures because of medical information, patient information privacy. Kelly learns how to engage wounded soldiers in hospitals. She learns what questions to ask, how to ask. She learns, more importantly, what questions not to ask. Then she does a PE, a practical exercise, and goes to a patient ward. She applies what she has learned. Engaging wounded soldiers, taking pictures and autographing leg and arm casts, and sometimes even autographing foreheads. By the time she is finished with her PE, the word is out throughout the hospital, and there's a crowd in the hallway outside. Happily and cheerfully, Kelly spends another half hour you want to drink Joe's water. So happily and cheerfully, Kelly spends another half hour taking pictures and signing autographs. During our time together, Kelly and I make a drug deal. Kelly agrees to be a surprise date for a lucky and single enlisted soldier at the next Gopher Broke banquet. This is conditional that our dates sync with her work schedule. We plan on making that some sort of a contest. A fundraiser, not fundraiser, fundraiser for the association or something like that. Unfortunately, we could not sync our dates. Either that or her boyfriend didn't like it. Moving right along, did you know about the Museum of the United States Army? For soldiers of the Gopher Broke, a trip to Washington, D.C. is not complete without a visit to the National Museum of the United States Army. I'll tell you why. The museum is located on Fort Belmore, Virginia, a few minutes south of Washington, D.C. Our Edelweiss group visited the museum on our return home from Germany. Here, upon our arrival, we were greeted by Lieutenant General, United States Army retired Roger Schultz, former director of the National Guard, and currently director of the museum. What made our visit especially memorable was that former Army Chief of Staff and Secretary of Veterans Affairs, General Eric Shinseki of the Army Historical Society, which manages and funds the Army Museum, was our host along with his wife, Pat. So there's a group picture of us just before entering the museum. So General Shinseki currently serves as the chairman of the board of the Army Historical Society, which manages and funds the Army Museum. In our group was General Shinseki's high school classmate from Kauai and a fellow church member at Fort Myers Chapel. Together, they persuade General Shinseki to lead the annual meeting of the Association of the United States Army to host our visit. When you pull a four-star general out of the Association of the United States Army annual meeting, you somebody, and our friends were able to have General Shinseki host our visit. Now, along the pathway from the parking lot to the museum, there is a path of remembrance. Along this path are plaques that display all the patches and insignia of all major Army units, activities, and branches of the Army. Colonel Tom Farrell, are you here? All right. Now, Colonel Farrell, I will give you one guess. Which unit do you think is the first Army unit displayed on this path of remembrance? Ahead of and in front of all other units and organizations. Colonel Farrell, what is your answer? That's exactly. There is a plaque for the 442, the first plaque out of that long line of plaque. And there's also one for the 100th Battalion. So as we tour the museum, General Shinseki tells us this is a soldier's museum. There are no portrait galleries of former Army chiefs of staff or stories of famous generals. True to his word, in the entire museum, the only thing I could find with a general's name on it was a stone bench outside the museum. You can't read the inscription, but it says it was gifted by the Shinsekis with the inscription, General and Mrs. Eric K. Shinseki and family, 34th Chief of Staff, soldiers are our credentials. So when you're in Washington, D.C., local soldiers, you have to visit the Army Museum, and that's not all. On the second floor of the museum is a special permanent exhibit, the Nisei Veterans Experience. It is full of displays and interactive kiosks that tell the story of the 100th and the 442. This exhibit is also the permanent home of the Congressional Gold Medal. And this is the gold medal that we're all familiar with that were awarded to all the Nisei veterans serving in World War II. Did you know in early 2006, there was an initiative by the United States Army Reserve Command, USARC, Public Affairs Office, to nominate the story of the 100th Battalion to the History Channel and the Hallmark Channel. A 5-minute promotional trailer was produced. And I would like to share with you now some of the faces you will see in this video. Some are familiar, others include Pamela Lau, mother of Sergeant Keenan Lau, being interviewed here by Colette Fox. Renee Carlisle at the top panel, whose husband I believe was the battalion S2 at that time. And on the bottom panels, Len and Cheryl Tanaka, parents of then Specialist Len Tanaka. Cheryl Tanaka was very active in the 100th Battalion FRG, the Family Readiness Group. Specialist Len Tanaka here is pictured with Lieutenant General James G. Helmley, Chief of the Army Reserve at that time. Specialist Tanaka's grandfather was a 100th Battalion soldier. General Helmley, by profession, is a combat infantryman, and the 100th Battalion was his darling unit. Others depicted in the trailer is Governor Pulitato Tulifono, Governor of American Samoa, and presidents of both the 442 Veterans Club, Mr. Ron Ova, and the 100th Battalion Veterans Club, I believe Mr. Charles Akita. The young lady in the video you will see is Governor Tulifono's daughter. She too was serving in Iraq and was slightly wounded when a mortar shell damaged the dining hall she was in. There's an image of Captain Fish, and I believe he was a company commander at that time. The video is accompanied by a Gopher Grove song sung by the brand new United States citizens from Company B and Company C American Samoa. They performed it at their naturalization and swearing-in ceremony at Fort Bliss, Texas. Ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy American Legacy. I retired from the Army Reserve about a year and a half later and never heard anything back from USARC Public Affairs after the video was produced. I kept its release confidential because I didn't want to raise expectations and have our soldiers and the public disappointed. As promised during the opening, I will share with you how to get reservations at the Edelweiss Lodge and Resort. In 2021, this group of 16, over half in their 80s, COVID had already robbed them of at least 2 good travel health years. Despite all the health registration requirements we had to overcome, the group decided to cancel. In this group picture, Edelweiss Reservations Manager Terry Hodges is at far left, inlay with Cho Omiyage, the same for her 2 assistants on the right side of the group. We used the Edelweiss as a base of operations and visited the Schwarzstein Castle, Linderhof Castle. We took the cable car up to the Zugspitze, Germany's highest peak. We drank good, refreshing German beer, Hofbräu, and ate like kings at every meal. All right, to reserve rooms, you need to get a group together. Contact the Edelweiss Room Reservations and tell them you want to book a conference. I kid you not. Okay? Because if you book a conference, you can invite anybody to your conference. It transcends age, it transcends service component, status, etc. As long as you have that ID card, you are it. Okay, this is a copy of my reservation. And our group was 2105 Sugai G for group. Go up. We need a go conference over there. And like Jesus said, I will show you the way. Anybody wants to put a group together, I will most be happy to provide technical assistance. Ladies and gentlemen, I would be terribly remiss to not acknowledge the recent passing of Sergeant First Class Aaron Nakashima and Staff Sergeant Danny Matthias from among our ranks. I was acquainted with both these soldiers. Again, I express our sincerest condolences and sympathy to both the Nakashima and Matthias families. We trust the spirit of this gathering, together with remembrances of good times past, and the gathering of family and friends will provide some comfort and solace to both families in the difficult days ahead. I will exercise my speaker's license and ask all of you a favor. In the Army and amongst other military services, there is a belief that a soldier dies 2 times. Once when he or she passes or falls in battle. The second time is his or her name, service and sacrifice is not remembered or forgotten. The origins of this belief and practice is traced back to the ancient Egyptians. Egyptians believed that a person's being was composed of many layers. The Khat was the physical body, the Ba was the deceased's unique character and personality, and the most important layer was the Red, the name. The Egyptians were obsessively involved in repeating the names of their famous dead in inscriptions, in prayers, in spells, and other funerary texts. They believed by doing so, the deceased was in some sense revived. If the name was forgotten, the dead person's soul would be lost forever in eternity, a much feared second death. So I ask you all, help perpetuate Aaron and Danny's life and memory. When you have a quiet moment to yourselves, think, whisper, or say the name Aaron Nakashima, Danny Matthias. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes my presentation tonight. Thank you for your kind attention. I hope you found it interesting and learned something new about your 100th Battalion and the 442nd Infantry. Tonight we heard President Tamori use the word legacy, and rightly so. I know of no other Army unit or Army organization that has had such a broad and far-reaching impact upon our Army, our country, its values through the decades, and whose timeless story of loyalty, valor, and sacrifice are still relevant and meaningful to this day. There are many more stories about the 100th and 442 like the ones you've learned about here tonight. I hope that I will be invited back to share more stories with you. Special thanks to Command Sergeant Major Keith Kwan down here behind the projector for his invaluable help in managing my graphics and electrons. Could have not done without it, Keith. Thank you very much. For your information, Keith filled in at the last minute with a week left to go for Command Sergeant Major John Miata. John's mom passed away late last month, and thus he was consumed with arranging 2 celebration of life services, one in Arizona and one in Chicago, and settling his mom's estate. So please hold close John Miata and his family in your thoughts and prayers this evening. As a result, support of my presentation caused a lot of trouble on the Kwan family schedule, and I'm truly appreciative of Keith's efforts and expertise on my behalf. And just to prove a point, we had our dress rehearsal yesterday at 3:30. Again, thank you to our association board of directors for the opportunity to speak to you this evening. Aloha and go home!
Okay, this is for Aaron and Danny. Let's remember Pearl Harbor as we go to meet the foe. Let's remember Pearl Harbor as we did the Alamo. We will always remember how they died for liberty. Let's remember Pearl Harbor and go on to victory. 442nd Infantry, we're the boys from Hawaii. We'll fight for you and the red, white, and blue, and go to the front and back to Honolulu, fighting for dear old Uncle Sam. Go for broke, we don't give a damn. We'll round up the Huns at the point of our guns, and victory will be ours. Go for broke, go for dude, go for broke, go for dude, and victory will be ours. 442nd Infantry, we're the boys from Hawaii. We'll fight for you and the red, white, and blue, and go to the front and back to Honolulu, fighting for dear old Uncle Sam. Go for broke, we don't give a damn. We'll round up the Huns at the point of our guns, and victory will be ours.